The story begins with Becca and Shelby, who are very close friends. On Halloween, they decide to try something new and exciting. Becca suggests creating a spirit box to contact spirits. Initially, Shelby does not find the idea very thrilling, but Becca reminds her that she might be able to contact her mother, who passed away recently. Hearing about her mother, Shelby agrees. Together, they build a spirit box which looks similar to a Ouija board. They start using it without taking it too seriously. Shelby asks the first question whether there are any spirit present here. As soon as she asks, the pointer moves to yes, and Becca gets frightened. Shelby then asks the spirit its name, and the pointer spells Emily. They recognize this name. It belongs to their classmate Emily, who had committed suicide. Curious, they ask Emily how she died. Through the pointer, Emily reveals the word murder, indicating that she did not take her own life but was actually killed. This information shocks both of them since no one had ever known this before. When they ask for the name of her killer, all the lights suddenly go out and the pointer moves toward later. Emily seems to be asking them to meet her again. They start researching Emily's death and learn that she drowned in a lake while driving her car into the water. Becca remembers Emily from their cheerleading squad. While discussing Emily, Shelby's father, who is a police officer, arrives home. He reminds her about her swimming training, as she has an upcoming competition. During her swimming practice, Shelby feels as if someone else is in the pool with her, which terrifies her. She shares this experience with Becca, who also mentions receiving strange text messages containing only random letters. While they are discussing this, Shelby's swimming coach, Mr. Drake, arrives. Becca dislikes him because she knows he is not a good person and warns Shelby about him, but Shelby does not pay much attention. They return to talking about Emily, wondering what she really wants. Shelby believes Emily seeks justice, while Becca thinks Emily wants revenge. To find out the truth, they decide to contact Emily again. That night, they go to the place where Emily's grave is located, near the lake where she died. On the way, Shelby tells Becca that her father was present when Emily's body was recovered and that her body was in a terrible state. Her eyes seem to have been eaten. Before her death, Emily had also sent messages to several people saying she was going to end her life. However, Becca speculates that maybe the messages were sent by her murderer before throwing her into the river. As they begin their ritual, Shelby goes to the lake to wash her hands, but suddenly a hand emerges from the water and grabs her. Terrified, she pulls herself free and runs away screaming, with Becca following behind. That night, they do not make contact with Emily. However, solving Emily's case becomes an obsession for Shelby. The next morning, she sneaks into her father's office and steals Emily's case file. She and Becca discover that Emily's blood had high amounts of alcohol and sleeping pills before she died. It is clear that someone drugged her, sent fake messages from her phone to make it look like a suicide, and then pushed her car into the lake. They cannot understand why the police failed to figure this out. As they discuss this, Mr. Drake interrupts them. After he leaves, Becca recalls that Emily was once harassed by a boy named Christian, who could possibly be the killer. Later that day, Shelby returns home and notices that her father arrived early, as he had to meet someone. When he goes to his room, Shelby secretly takes his police car keys and uses the system to find Christian's home address. She wants to follow him and uncover the truth. However, someone does not want her to investigate further. That night, when she goes to the swimming court, a masked person starts chasing her. The scene suggests that someone is trying to harm her, so she runs away in fear and hides in the washroom. Terrified, she is unable to speak, and the masked man leaves a note under the washroom door. The note reads, "Do not disturb the dead." After this terrifying incident, she immediately informs her father and shows him the note. Her father asks who might be threatening her in this way. Shelby assumes that Christian is responsible. Her father quickly visits Christian and interrogates him, but Christian denies any involvement. On the day of the incident, Christian was at work. When asked if her ex-boyfriend might be involved, Shelby firmly believes that he is not responsible. Nervous and frightened, she shares everything with Becca. Suddenly, Becca experiences severe stomach pain. Seeing her in distress, Coach Drake approaches to help, but Becca refuses to let him touch her. As Shelby takes Becca to the hospital, Becca vomits in the car. To their horror, a necklace with the name Emily comes out of her mouth. It is the same necklace that belonged to Emily. The two girls panic, realizing that the situation has escalated beyond their control. It becomes clear that Emily will not leave them alone unless her case is solved. Determined, they decide to return to Emily's grave at night and use the spirit box to contact her again. This time, they ask who murdered her. Through the spirit box, the pointer moves and spells out the name Mr. Drake. Before they can ask anything further, security guards arrive, forcing them to grab their spirit box and escape. Upon returning home, Shelby finds her father waiting angrily. She cannot lie any longer and confesses that she has been investigating Emily's murder. She also reveals that the murderer is none other than Mr. Drake, the swimming coach. She explains that Emily had an affair with Mr. Drake and was planning to tell his wife. To cover up the truth, Mr. Drake killed her. Becca had pieced everything together because she was close to both Emily and Mr. Drake. This is why she always warned Shelby to stay away from him. Shelby further explains that Mr. Drake drugged Emily, which caused her death, and later staged her suicide by putting her in the car and pushing it into the lake. Her father, shocked by the details, asks how she knows about the drugs, as this information was never made public. Shelby hesitates but eventually admits that she stole Emily's case file from his office. Her father becomes furious because Shelby's actions could cost him his job. As punishment, he imposes strict restrictions on her. No phone, no internet, and no activities except school and swimming practice. The next day, while swimming, Shelby notices a locket sinking to the bottom of the pool. As she dives to retrieve it, a ghostly hand suddenly appears, terrifying her and forcing her to rush out of the water. Later, she meets Becca and notices that Becca has an injury on her leg. Becca explains that someone pulled her underwater in the pool. Two girls realize that both of them have experienced the same paranormal attack on the same day. A strange series of events unfolds as Shelby and Becca start believing that Emily's spirit is haunting them. They realize that they must fulfill Emily's unfinished business. Otherwise, she may harm them. While discussing their next steps, Mr. Drake suddenly appears, making Becca uncomfortable. She firmly believes that he is responsible for everything happening around them. After he leaves, Becca suggests that Shelby should ask her father for help, but Shelby knows that he won't support them. They decide to handle everything on their own. Shelby realizes that they need solid evidence to prove Mr. Drake is the killer. Becca then shows her a duplicate key to his house and explains that she had taken its imprint when the maid left the original under a mat after completing her work. Together, they plan to enter Mr. Drake's house to collect evidence. According to the plan, Shelby sneaks inside while Becca waits outside as backup. Becca hands Shelby a taser in case of danger. The moment Shelby steps inside, her phone loses network, cutting off communication with Becca. As she looks around, she finds the same mask that was worn by the person who had threatened her earlier, making her even more scared. She also discovers a doll without eyes under the bed, sending chills down her spine. While searching the drawers, she finds sleeping pills, leading her to believe that Mr. Drake had drugged Emily before killing her. Shelby intends to leave with the evidence, but before she can escape, Mr. Drake arrives home. Becca, unable to warn Shelby due to the signal loss, watches helplessly. Shelby quickly hides while Mr. Drake senses an intruder. Holding an electric knife, he searches for the trespasser. As he gets closer, Shelby's phone suddenly rings, revealing her hiding spot. She panics but quickly regains control of herself. Thinking on her feet, she tries to manipulate Mr. Drake by pretending to have feelings for him. She distracts him by saying she only wanted to meet him alone. Mr. Drake falls for her words and moves closer. The moment he touches her face, she uses the taser on his neck. The shock makes him lose balance and he falls down the stairs, breaking his neck and dying instantly. With Mr. Drake dead, Emily's revenge is fulfilled. A month later, Shelby visits Emily's grave, only to find that the grave does not belong to Emily. Instead, a fake nameplate had been placed over another grave. Confused, she calls Becca for answers. Becca shocks Shelby by revealing that Emily's body was never buried. It had been cremated. Shelby is horrified, realizing that Becca had been hiding this information. Becca then unveils a shocking truth. Mr. Drake never killed Emily. Becca herself had murdered Emily. She confesses that she was in a secret relationship with Mr. Drake, but when he started getting closer to Emily, she became jealous. She hated Emily not only for stealing Drake's attention but also because Emily was a better swimmer than her. In her jealousy, Becca drugged Emily by mixing sleeping pills in her drink. Then, she sent messages from Emily's phone to make it appear like a suicide before pushing Emily's car into the lake. drowning her. Once Emily was gone, Becca needed to eliminate Mr. Drake as well. She orchestrated everything, manipulating Shelby to help her. Becca further reveals that it was her, not Mr. Drake, who had worn the mask to scare Shelby in the swimming pool. She also planted the evidence in Drake's house. After finishing her confession, Becca ends the call and starts her car to leave the parking area. Suddenly, the parking garage door slams shut. Her car refuses to start and all the doors lock automatically. Confused and terrified, she sees Emily's spirit standing right in front of her. Becca realizes that she won't escape her fate. Car's engine suddenly starts and toxic fumes fill the vehicle. Becca struggles, but the doors remain locked. As she suffocates, Emily finally takes her revenge. With Becca's death, the story comes to an end. I hope you liked my video. If you did, please like and share it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. We keep bringing such content regularly. Peace.